Hi, I am Luke, and today's video is about something because I haven't decided yet. I was actually recording a video already, and I felt like I was really ugly, so I started getting really flustered and exhausted, and I got really sad, and I kind of gave up on recording it, especially because I couldn't find words to talk to the camera. Like, I couldn't find words to speak even, and this is a real sign that my ADHD that either my ADHD is really heavy and annoying, or I am really tired, and I think the case is both for now. But I want to record something because I don't know. And we're gonna talk about what? I don't know. Maybe gender. I think because actually, okay, hold on. What it was recording was about an article I wrote for Substack regard gender, being trans, my personal connection with womanhood, and is it cuter like this or like this? I could add something cute to this, like a, hold on, does it look cute? I think it does. I like it. Okay, we're gonna talk about gender, and I look really gay with this. Gender, I was reading this article I wrote for my Substack, and I have 2 Substack newsletter actually. Say something wrong, I feel like the need to correct myself, and this is on rigidity, cognitive inflexibility or cognitive rigidity. Anyways, that's on this. Being a neurodivergent person is really nice. I'm gonna read all of the article, and I'm going to talk about it only afterwards, because as it's the 3rd time I'm recording this, I'm trying to record this actually. I've seen empirically that when I read and talk about it, and talk about what I'm reading at the same time, it gets like a bit confused, because I talk a lot and I tend to get lost on what part I'm reading. So I'm gonna read all of this, and I'm going to talk about it afterwards. Okay. It's called "Being a People Pleaser is Not Inherently Bad. You Just May Be Pleasing Too Many Men." In Portuguese, guilt is a feminine word. Let's go. There's this intricate term for people who always put being liked above being authentic and prioritizing their own feelings and needs. People pleasers. I am in fact a people pleaser, or have been for a long time, especially since my preteen years, where I started to feel some type of discomfort with being unliked, the factory standard for people assigned female at birth. As soon as I started going deeper into my gender concerns, and eventually finding out I was a trans man, it got even worse, as I needed to not only be liked, but also validated as who I am. Mind you, I was 13. But this article is not about being trans, at least not exactly, although it certainly will pass through my personal experiences regarding gender norms and behaviors. It came to me when I was thinking about this very, very recent event in my life. Here's the story. I got accepted into an internship at a library, and I had already signed all the papers. My internship was about to start in a week or so. It turned out that I got accepted into another internship, which I wanted more. So I got really flustered that I needed to break up with my new boss to get into the other opportunity. I was so nervous to put her down because she treated me so good in the interview and during all the procedures. I spent days anxious about it, thinking she would get mad and think I used them. which, as I write it down, I can see how stupid it sounds, but in a sense, this is how a people pleaser sounds like. Nevertheless, I texted the librarian, long message, apologizing for giving up on the position and giving tips on problems I was supposed to start working on when I initiated at the library. What I didn't expect was her to be so calm to handle my nervousness, as the fact that this was the very thing she decided to respond. She wanted me to know that there was absolutely no problem with giving up on the position, and emphasized that I should do what I felt like doing, what was more pleasing, and what I needed at the time. I felt hugged by these words. The first thought of her wasn't job related. Instead, it was human related. So I started thinking about how women usually have dealt with my emotional concerns and anxiousness. Their first instinct was mostly make me feel less guilty. Guilt. In Portuguese, guilt is a feminine word, as there was always something that connected me with womanhood besides having an uterus and other bullshit. I am deeply afraid. I'm afraid of hurting people, of making them anxious, of being a bad person. I can't deal with guilt, as it consumes me in a way I cannot get in contact with myself and forgive me for being human. And I think, all gender apart, this is something that makes me remember I'm closer to women than men and will always be. That's why I'm debating with myself about only being a people pleaser with women, as I know they will value my tenderness and return it, while when I please men and treat them with all due respect, they act like it was my obligation. Something they wouldn't do to a cis man, mind you. As you can already tell, I wrote this about a very specific event in my life, and this was something that really impacted me because, as I said in a text, I got anxious for days thinking about this breakup with my new boss at the internship. And when I finally contacted her and she responded me with this type of affirmations, I felt like, oh, so it was this easy. Like, the point of the text is not exactly like, if my boss was a man, he would say other thing. Like, I don't know what he would say if the case was like I had a male boss, but instead it's more of like how I felt connected with this specific type of women that it's not that specific because I've seen it repeatedly often. I've seen this often, this type of women, and like I feel so hugged by this because I know it's cultural for women to be more comprehensive, emotional, but I don't think it's just for the appearance. It's not just for the aesthetics, because I have been well treated by so many women, and I think like this is how I want to treat people, because you know what they have been saying recently, that an exceptional man is just an average woman. I think this is like very true in a lot of senses, because I'm going to explain some parts of the text. I know it's not necessary, but I really like, I enjoy, like I genuinely enjoy explaining the thing I write. Let's go. The title, being a people pleaser is not inherently bad, you just may be pleasing too many men. I wanted this to be provocative, like provoke society, and I think it was like provocative enough. I don't know if it was like annoying provocative, but I wanted it to be like, just okay, what is it about? I went to read this, and I think it was kind of like, if I saw this title I would want to read, and honestly this is what matters. In Portuguese, guilt is a feminine word. I didn't want it to sound like she believed he lied, like as bad thing. I think it kind of sounded a bit cringe, but as you read the the article, you can see that it has a context, and I hope no one stopped at this phrase without reading the article, because otherwise it will sound really cringe. Um, I don't know why I related specifically this to people pleasing. I think the average experience of us assigned female at birth, and you know, minorities in general, we tend to want validation, we tend to want to be accepted, we tend to seek man's approval, and this sucks, you know. Men think it's our obligation. Men think we owe them something. Of course, I'm talking about cis men. You get it. I'm a man too, so. But the idea of realizing you don't owe them anything, it's liberating. When you realize you don't owe a man anything, it's liberating, because you're free from the type of, when we're born, we tend to feel like, okay, my existence is a burden, so I need to compensate this by either being like adorable or super intelligent or likable or pretty sometimes. And this is a real problem I've been seeing, because in Brazil specifically, I've been seeing a lot of women that claim to be anti-feminist, and they're like, you want to work, I want to be pretty and bake a cake. I want to be pretty and bake a cake at 3 p.m. And this is really annoying. Like, don't you realize our bodies could fall apart at any second? Do you realize you're only doing this for men's approval? Like, why would you want to be all shaved and all thin and small breasts if not for, how can I say this without like, since the 2010s, I've been like, I'm a young person, so I think feminists have been saying it for longer than this, but since the 2010s, I've been seeing, especially on the internet, feminists talking about how gender stereotypes for females are based on pedophilia. And since the Epstein files came out, we can actually see that the people who command the whole thing right here, the whole world, they are pedophiles, in fact. And they want you to shave all your body. They want you to be all thin and small and fragile, just as a child. And you are perpetuating this as a woman. And this is embarrassing, darling. You should be really embarrassed of yourself. Like, it's not about, okay, let's all have, as you like to say, a forest in our vaginas or armpits. I'm not forcing you to not shave. This is not about it. Like, if you want to shave, it's completely fine. I shave. It's growing, but I shave. The point is not about shaving. The point is they want you to look like a child because they are pedophiles. And when you obligate and want to obligate other women to be like this, you're just doing devil's work unpaid. And it's embarrassing. Like, people tend to share a lot of things online without realizing the deeper meanings of it. Like, I don't know, I'm just a person. I can't, I am physically, biologically, and cognitively in, incapable of not going deeper into topics. So when I see something, I can't just, okay, this is how it works. No, this is not how it works. I need to know what is the origin of it. You can't keep sharing things you don't know if are true. You don't know the origin. You don't know who created this. So when I see some type of new ideology or some type of anything, I need to know exactly where it came from. So like every fake news, not every, because there are a lot of fake news, but when I see a fake news on my Instagram, for example, I tend to, okay, let's search about it. Who said this shit? And honestly, most of it comes from Brasil Paralelo. And honestly, chamada, we can't not think about gender as a complex thing. Gender is a social construct, and this is well known by everyone. You may say it's not, you may deny it, but it is a social construct. And per se, it means it is a complex topic as it was socially constructed. When we talk about society, there are lots, lots of layers to analyze, and lots of origins, lot of roots, and lots of bigots, lots of things we need to destrinchar. I forgot the word in English. So when we talk about gender, it's complex. It's a complex thing. We cannot only, I think I'm mostly saying this because I don't want to be misinterpreted when I say I relate to women. I don't want it to be interpreted as, oh, so he's a trans man and he wants to be a woman. And then what I mean, it's so windy without glasses. What I mean is, I don't deny my personal experiences will be closer to women's experience, because this is how I was socialized, as you like to say, and because I grew up afraid. I was always afraid. I was afraid of being violated, of being abused, and this is mostly a female experience. If you talk to a man, if you talk to a cisgender man and ask him his biggest fear on earth, the chances of him saying being raped are like really low. And if you ask a woman, a trans person, whatever, minorities, gender minorities especially, the probability of them saying rape, I don't need to say this, my biggest fear on earth is being raped. I prefer being killed, assassinated, than being raped. I deal with this fear since you know what age. I mentioned it on my article. And this is not just me, this is not just because I'm trans, this is because I was born with a uterus, and society decided that us who were born with a uterus are somehow inferior, and we need to be dominated, and if we say no, it may mean a yes. About invading, it's about colonizing the other's bodies. The patriarchy is based on this. It's colonizing women's and gender minorities' bodies, fundamentally. And I write this a lot on my gender essay, which I think I could bring it here a bit, but it's in Portuguese, so I don't really wanna mix languages in each video. But this is just like for me to say that I have lots of things to talk about gender, and if this continues, I'm probably going to post a lot more videos about it. And if you like this kind of content, I'm sorry, I said contact. If you like this type of content, you can leave a like, you can subscribe to my channel, you can comment and say I look really handsome with my glasses on. And thank you, and please comment if you like my microphone. I am really gay today. Bye. Subscribe.